Good evening to you. Researchers at Vanderbilt say the front lines of fighting COVID-19 is turning from stopping the spread to preventing the infection to begin with.
Yeah, and it all has to do with something we've talked about quite a lot lately, monoclonal antibodies. The lab-made proteins which attach to viruses and help your immune system fight it. News 4's Marissa Sulek got an exclusive look inside the lab. And Marissa, this research could have a far-reaching effect.
It could, Marius. It's a program called Ahead 100. Vanderbilt researchers want to stay ahead of 100 future viruses. Instead of patients like those hospitalized with COVID-19 receiving antibodies for treatment, these researchers plan to use them to prevent future pandemics.
There's Nate, works on Rift Valley.
Hi there. Here inside Vanderbilt's vaccine center, this lab is usually full of researchers studying monoclonal antibodies.
We have about 50 people, and they usually scatter, honestly, when the cameras come out.
One of those researchers not scattering is Dr. Robert CARNAHAN, because he believes what they are doing is groundbreaking. He says they're starting to lift their focus away from COVID-19 and turn to the next global epidemic.
We already knew that antibody interventions were going to be important in some populations.
We're working on 100 different viruses right now because we think it's plausible that antibodies could prevent or treat virtually any serious viral infection.
Dr. James CROWE, the center's director, spent the past decade preparing for pandemics.
And each time we tried to respond, and then we started thinking, wow, the best response would be to have the drug available ahead of time, and when the outbreak occurs and it's a small outbreak, deploy that drug and sort of contain the epidemic rather than let the thing explode.
In fact, they're working on one antibody right now to prevent COVID-19.
And we'll be seeing these antibodies available to the public very shortly, we believe.
Dr. CROWE says 3 million people in the United States cannot be vaccinated for COVID. This shot would give them protection from COVID-19 for at least 1 year.
They have cancer, immunocompromised, and so on. And so our antibodies are for prevention. It'll just be a shot, not an infusion, for people at high risk.
And while he says the antibody is still in trials, this is the way to treat diseases going forward.
We're going to see more of this probably, but I think we can be better prepared in the future.
Now, that COVID-19 antibody used for prevention is under emergency FDA approval and is expected to be available by winter. Marius.